All right, it's Wednesday. We had an interview, hence the wet hair, hence the button down white. Holy fuck, I have to pee. I thought it was an interview, like on video, because they sent a Teams link, but right away she goes, "Oh, like you don't need your camera on," and she's like, "It's just a phone screen," which they said, but then she sent a Teams link. So if I get a Teams link, I'm assuming it doesn't really matter. Probably a good thing. It made it, I guess, a little easier to like look at notes and stuff and not be worried if they see my eyes wandering. But really didn't touch on a ton of my notes. Roll sounds pretty cool. It sounds like it'd be a little bit more of a grind, but in a good way. Like I don't mind a grind if it's entertaining and kind of bust your ass, get the day done. You feel like a boss. Especially the main reason I say I don't mind is I didn't know based off the posting. I thought it was on site every day. It's 100% remote. Like there's some egotistical appeal to it where I'm like, I want to fucking live in my parents' basement, bust ass. I mean, it's not a commission role, I don't think, but I want to bust ass in my parents' basement, be like a fucking goated professional. But on the surface, I look like a loser living at home with my parents at 25, 26 years old. Little do people know I'm killing it. And by saving money financially living at home, I'm killing it. And then boom, 2 years we pop off with a mansion, with a pad, own a Dave's Hot Chicken. But I really don't want to get ahead of myself. I know they have a lot of applicants. She was really transparent, which I appreciated in terms of like, it's really, the thing that's nice is I got a referral. And I don't know, some places I think value it more than others. Like I've only had 2 interviews these past 2 weeks. Both have been from companies I've gotten a referral from. The other 2 roles I applied for, one I got an automated no, which I honestly thought it was like talent acquisition assistant. Honestly, I felt I was overqualified. So that's just how the market is. I'm like, there's roles where I'm like, I feel pretty good, and you don't even get an interview. Only one, and then the 4th one I haven't heard back from. The 2 where I had a referral, we had screens and we haven't heard about next steps. What was encouraging is the first one, they didn't really talk too much about the referral. It was more of an actual kind of interviewing conversation. This one wasn't even a ton of like asking me too much of like, walk me through this, that. There was a few questions, but a lot of it was like, hey, here's more info on the role, company, which I appreciate that. That's how a screen probably should be. And then the interviews where you kind of get the pressures on me kind of thing. But it seemed, the thing is, she was transparent, was like, we'll know by end of week. We're probably only going to move forward like our top 3 candidates. And then it's a 30-minute actual interview with her with the camera on and then her boss, which would be next week. So at least it's like a quick turnaround decision thing. But if only I know they have a lot of screens because when I went to her calendar to schedule it, she was booked. And I saw a lot of people apply to the role when I did, which was like a couple days later. So I don't think it's super likely I make the top 3. I think the conversation went well, but just like I would assume there's at least 50 people applying. I think it's optimistic to say I'm going to make top 3. But I know they value the referrals quite a bit, and she thought really highly of the person who referred me. And she's like, oh, I know you're coming from the same place as him, so that's, good insight. She's spoke really highly of him, so I think that at least made me feel better. She addressed it right away early, like, oh, I do know you are a referral, which is cool. But then also same thing, like my resume, it's pretty easy to see I'm no longer at tech, and it sounded like she knew that, but didn't. She didn't seem too harped on it when we talked about it. I was like, to be clear, I don't know if I answered it too well. I think I do a good job of, I didn't see myself there long term. I'm in a place financially where I can take time to be picky and figure out what's a good fit for me. But then I also, I kind of mentioned how, because when I say that, it's like, okay, I've been unemployed 3 months. That's a long time to be unemployed if you're just looking the whole time. So I never know to mention, hey, I was debating of freaking moving. I feel with this role, it doesn't matter now because they're 100% remote. But yeah, I think it went overall. I really have to pee. This is already 5 minutes. But interview went well. I just don't know how optimistic I am of making it to the top 3. But it's definitely something I'm interested in. A 100% remote role. And I was nervous. They kind of asked, like, we want to be transparent with compensation. What are you looking for? And it's always the dangerous thing, and how you phrase it. But it sounded like we were in line. So we'll see. I feel pretty good. I think we did decent on both of them. I would love if I at least made it to the interview step with one of them. But the goal is to... Today's Wednesday. My sleep schedule is a little messed up. I have to pee. I want to watch some sports commentary shows, listen to a fantasy podcast. I go on my friend's podcast later today. Then tomorrow, Thursday Night Football, we're playing Magic with the boys. So during the day, I want to start, while I'm waiting to hear back from these roles, applying to other ones and getting more balls in courts, more eggs in baskets. So that's really it. I wanted to run back-to-back, but my knee's in a lot of pain. Not a lot of pain. My knee's, something's up with my knee. We'll worry about running at another point. But it went decent. I feel solid. I feel I over-prepared because it was more info for me than about me. But that's it. Fingers crossed. I'm craving money. I'm craving money, and I'm craving corporate ladders. Get me in, coach! It's Wednesday night, 12:49, so now it's Thursday. Really delayed. But I did my podcast with my buddy. Also, shout out Brews and Belters. Look them up on Spotify. But I want to address it. One, there will be a link in the description. It's called Settle in 7, Settle, on Spotify. I genuinely recommend this playlist to anyone, but especially if you are like trying to get into running. It's essentially my friend who has ran 3 marathons and he's running a 50-mile race. He just brings people on from different levels of running. People who have, like me, just recently ran a marathon. People who are just ran a 5K and now they're striving for a half or whatever. People who have ran 50s. People who bike. And it's like half of the podcast is usually just talking about their experience with whatever races they've done, feedback, recommendations, like just honest, transparent thoughts. So you get some advice. You get some just like people's experiences, which can make it more reassuring or more comforting. And then, whatever's unique to them, whether it's they really are into a reality TV show. They used to be a former collegiate athlete. In my case, we talked a good bit about like mental health, fantasy football. It's just like a really nice, relaxing listen. I know for me, it's something I haven't been running since the marathon, but I would on Saturdays have a long run, typically like 6 or more miles. And that would be my go-to because it's like an hour and a half long, calming, funny, and just like informative. So I recommend it regardless, but I'm obviously selfishly going to link my episode. I listened to it back. I was going to wait till tomorrow, but he sent me it, and I was like, fuck it, I might as well. I'm overall proud. I didn't know how much I was going to open up and deep dive like mental health. Part of me wanted to really get into the deep dark of it and like cry. Part of me was like, let's not talk about it at all. We did somewhere in the middle. It was just overall, it felt natural though, and I had a good time. Like I genuinely had fun recording it and hanging with him. So that was the biggest thing. I was like, I don't care too much. My goal was I did want to open up a little bit, at least about mental health, in hopes of, I know it's hard. The more I talk about mental health, the better, easier it gets. So I was like, if me talking about it makes it easier for other people and gets them on the right path, how it's been for me, that's my goal. But so I'm happy I talked about it a little bit. And he was super nice and sweet. And at one point, like I mentioned, I called him my running buddy in the episode. He's like, no, we're fucking not. And that was really just nice and reassuring. So per usual, I was super nervous. And then just spending time with my boy, Matt, he's just so great. We settled in and had a good time. So just want to say I'm thankful for that. And that link will be down below. Oh, my God. I'm burping and tired. Yeah, so it was a good day. We are going to now go make our NFL video for the next week. Post that. Probably post a non-NFL gambling video, a vlog. I don't know what I call them. A comeback video. TCB, I call them, the comeback. And then tomorrow is Thursday. Game plan is to do some job apps. And then at Thursday Night Football, go play Magic at a friend's house. And then Friday, tentatively, I've been saying how I want to go up to my parents' farm and just help them. I have not yet, and they've been working there for like 6 months. and I haven't gone up like a single day to help, which is shitty. So if I'm in my bag, maybe we'll do that Friday. Even if I just go up for a few hours, get food with him and go home. We'll see. I know I have to go sometime soon, and I feel it's either going to be like Friday or Saturday. I got to figure out. My next couple weekends get busy, and if hopefully interviews flow, it'd be hard to during the regular week. So if I'm on my shit, Friday should be the day during the day, but we'll see. Good day, though. Peep the podcast. Super thankful for Matt. Yeah, I got to shit now. I always have to shit once I do this. And we're going to try to keep the good vibes going. Last note, because I'm looking at it, my Halloween costume came in. I'll probably have pictures and do like a little, maybe I'll do like a little vlog of my first bar crawl. I don't know. I feel that's so obnoxious, but part of me thinks I'd be sick. You're probably gonna hear shit, but you'll at least get a picture or something of it later. Maybe we'll do a try-on video. Probably not. It's a dress hint, kind of, sorta. Deuces.